I want to talk to you about balancing your budgets. You probably will see some repetition in it. I want to talk about what we have done new. I want to talk about what we've done with the Polish market. And then I will hand it back over because I think there's a big award session going after that one. So the dilemma is quite obvious. After 2008, everybody is forced to do more for less. We talked about it many times. The demands are growing and the IT budgets are locked or relatively flat. So, and to help you guys, like big proprietary software vendors raise the cost with 19%. So for doing nothing. So we think we have like a solution where we can help you solve that issue. So where are you spending your IT budgets? And where do you want to spend your IT budgets? And we think that the balance there is a little bit gone. I speak to government instances and actually they are saying, Sandor, I'm spending like 35–40% of my entire IT budget just on license costs on proprietary software that we have like in use for 20 years. So and actually you want to spend your money on a different way. So to give you like a competitive edge to your competitors. So to bring the balance a little bit up, you want to free those costs that you're spending on expensive databases, expensive middleware, and you want to invest in like applications that help you driving your business, where you earn your money with, or what are your core processes. So I will try to show to you that using EnterpriseDB can help you do that. It's a massive market. Maybe you know this slide, but I think it's still important. You see that the awareness is already there for the operating system market and the middleware market. But we have like a really tiny piece of a 26 billion market. As of this 26 billion market, like 80% is divided by 3 vendors, the common ones. And out of that 80% is done by Oracle. So there's a massive opportunity for open source solutions here. So small, who are we? We have a lot of people that are in the community on our payroll. As we speak right now, we already have like 150 plus employees, a lot of downloads, and we are enabling companies to do like database migrations as of that. And we're saving customers to do that. We were saving them millions. So I don't know if it's clear here on the other side, but we have strategic investments from Red Hat. It's a financial investment. NTT, KT, and we're strongly growing, and it's like an exciting time to be here. So what do we do for you? So we are bridging a gap, and the gap is between the open source software. So I strongly feel that it's a really effective and efficient way of making software. So we have like 1,000 developers. We have better code against lower costs. But as a company, you need like a solid SLA to deliver that. So EnterpriseDB fills that gap to deliver you like a solid SLA. We can give you like services and trainings to like a certified DBAer. We give you a little bit indemnification support against false code. And we will deliver like a product roadmap so you can rely your future on that. So I think it's a nice example. There was once a product called Vista. I don't know if you all know that. It was, in my opinion, not the best one. But they worked for 6 years on it with 8,000 people. And we brought like the newest Postgres 9.1 with all kinds of new features like in 6 months. So this way of making software is much more efficient than the old-fashioned way. And so that's why I think it cannot be easily stopped anymore. So my old boss was the first speaker here, and Red Hat has done a big thing for open source in a broad sense. They've created adoption, so we don't have to evangelize so much anymore that using open source technology is a good thing. When I worked in the beginning at an open source company, you saw it was being used at big banks at the edge of their IT systems for file and print servers and everything around it. When I left there and started to a new company, you see that payment routers and everything is now being done on Linux. So it's being well accepted as a community rock solid solution. Same was for middleware. You see in the beginning, it was being used on the outside, Hibernate, translating the Java world to the relational native world. And nowadays, every large company is looking for all their new solutions for middleware to open source solutions. So when I started at EnterpriseDB, you also see we started selling some trainings, some small installations, but like 2011, I think we did over 100 new transactions only in EMEA with large customers. So the enterprise adoption of open source software, Red Hat as a big company helped us a lot with this, but I think it's something that we cannot stop anymore. Where do we come from? So a relational database is not something new. It's there for a long time, just like Oracle Enterprise Edition. It's being well tested, rock solid technology. So you see a lot of new stuff coming out like NoSQL or like in-memory databases. But if you have transactional systems, the best way forward still is a relational database. So you see that like many databases, we're coming from the University of Berkeley, and it developed from there. And where can you see us then? So we're in the transaction-intensive application. So databases like DB2, Oracle Enterprise Edition are in the same space, so for high transactional systems. Like MySQL has more been designed for the web and for read-intensive applications. So you can see that we are doing the same, we have almost the same possibilities as the high-end customers, only against lower costs. And what are we adding with Advanced Server? So you see the core is PostgreSQL. So it's the open source database, has a very active community, especially Eastern Europe, and we've added some tools around it. Security, if you want to do business in the US, you have to have like certain compliancy toolings. Compatibility, it's the 7th generation of Oracle compatibility. Tools to manage it. I will talk a little bit about Postgres Enterprise Management a little bit later. And performance enhancements, that is important for what we feel for large customers. So to zoom a little bit on Oracle compatibility, we created a layer between Postgres and Oracle that actually talks PL/SQL, the statements, the triggers. So you can virtually change the database under your applications. So especially if the knowledge is a little bit in the higher layers, like JDBC, ODBC, or Java applications, you can easily use us. So you have dramatic cost savings, especially as we all know the cost about the proprietary source, and we prevent vendor lock-in. So as an Oracle compatibility layer works two ways, of course. So this is the things that you want to do as a customer. So we have some new stuff going on. That's the Postgres plus Cloud Server. Everybody's talking about cloud. Also, we are talking about cloud. You see Red Hat and are more in the infrastructure layer. And somewhere in the cloud, you also have to store your data and your applications. So it's a full, flexible database with automatic scale up, scale down, failover. If you like Google on Postgres and cloud, it's by far the most being used database, especially if there are not so much restrictions around using it in the cloud. We are now GA with this product, so it is there. Actually, you can only use it in the Amazon cloud right now. In the next version that we will expect during or after summer, you can use it on bare metal, so to build your hybrid or your private clouds. Or eucalyptus. So, but as of now, it is available. You can play around with it at Amazon, and I think in cloud community it will be a very good move. And we have Postgres Enterprise Manager. You can compare that with an enterprise management tool where you can proactively use large installments of Postgres, manage it proactively, set thresholds, and to make sure that you can use it from a central manager console. In the second release that we just released about 5 days ago, we have an integration with SNMP and SNMPT, so you can send alerts if you're using like HP OpenView or Tivoli, those kinds of large environments. It makes your life a little bit easier to using open source technology in a large enterprise environment. So Poland. Poland is very important for us. We have some really close partners here that are actually named everywhere around us. And we have already some really successful projects. So I think this week we closed a large project. And we're growing quite rapidly worldwide. And where do we see this growth? We see this actually in 3 parts. We see that like middleware companies actually replacing Oracle. You see the larger companies are actually looking for an alternative platform. We see a lot of embedded going on, like ISVs that are making their solution with Postgres embedded. And that results in a massive client base in a relatively short time. So, like this week, and I cannot tell the name yet, but all the contracts are signed yet, we did a big Polish government institution with over 240 sites, with over 650 sockets. And we see EMEA-wide what is the sweet spot, with what our companies are using us. The first that are the telcos and the financial institutes. So if you go to our website, there's like a full list. But it was a very interesting year for Poland and for EMEA, working for EnterpriseDB, as we did like 100 new transactions with large customers in 1 year. So being the last one in front of the big awards, I want to keep it short, and I want to thank you for your attention, and I want to...
Thank you, Sandor.
Yeah.